Uranga, Mahina, which, if you look at it one way, it means essentially catching lobsters by the light of the moon. And they don't really know what Uranga Mahina actually means. There's a second meaning behind it all, and that's a ritualized kind of thing. It's like saying this is a cathedral, you know, and you don't know which one it is, but in the old language you would. Well, what makes this place spectacular for me, and I won't say for anybody else, number one, Hotumatua was buried right over there. And you say, is that so? What is that? It looks like nothing to me. Well, you're right. It does look like nothing. But it's an Ahu, and if you go over there, you will find a ramp with boro on it. You will find some stones that have been carved into, and we call them setting stones, because it meant that other stones would be fit into the bedding plane, and they would do that. So that's the oldest of the Ahu that I perceive here. Now, whether or not Hotumatua was buried there for real or not, I can't tell you. One thing, though, that is certain, and that is that whoever was around took his skull out of here and reburied it somewhere over near Ranokau. And theoretically, and you will hear this in a song that they sing, it's sort of the Rapa Nui national anthem, I guess, and it's all done by a men's a cappella choir. And they talk about Hotumatua and how he did his final farewell over on the north shore of Ranokau. And that's because he would sing this chant off to the west, which is where he says he came from. So you have a lot of little legends, or pieces of them, that fit together. And this is the one where he was buried and then dug back up again. He wasn't completely dug back up, just his skull, and then it was taken somewhere else. So we don't really know exactly where the somewhere else was. Now, this is a massive structure. It took me a month to map this one. You'll see why shortly. But I feel that that one is probably the oldest and most recycled of all of the Ahu. And then the central platform moved. Somebody had a bigger plan. And so, if you'll notice, there's a statue lying down in the middle of the plaza there. If we were to go over there, you would see, wait a minute, we're on top of a wing of a separate Ahu that's over there. And you can see a little red stone on the top of it at this point. But this has characteristics, the wings have the characteristic of a regular Ahu. So let's just say that's the central platform of another Ahu. So we've got one here, and then the other one was overbuilt on the central platform, which you can see the top of right there, complete with ramp. Then they decided they were going to build another one. And so they built the one, the big one with the three statues, let's put it that way. The smaller three statues, there are actually 5 over there, but you only see 2 or 3 of them from here. And these did not have top knots. The 3 big ones did, and you can see the top knot right out in the foreyard there. There's another one that's sort of in the rubble left of it, and another one right there. So these Moai had big top knots on there. Well, here's the point. Central platform here, number 1. Central platform 2, number 1 is there. Number 3, it's got some statue pieces embedded in it. Number 4 is that one, with the 3 statues that you can see. And number 5 was this one, with 3 big statues on it. Now there's a reason they were about to build another central platform that could accommodate some of the statues that are fallen along the road over here. And I don't know which ones were destined for this one, but maybe a lot of them. When we go over here, what you're looking at is the core of an Ahu. And you see the big boulders there? Those are much bigger than they appear from here. You may want to take a picture from here of someone standing in the middle of those boulders the orientation of these boulders is that the long axis is up. These are not lying down brick-like. They're standing upright, and they're in clusters. And I think what you're looking at there is beneath the central platform pedestals, you have these things holding the statue up, because they're stronger in a vertical position, and they're less stable, to be sure. But you pack other rocks in between those, and you can't tip the weight-bearing boulders over. Okay, now you can see the spacing for the 3 statues there, and for the 4 statues there, or 5 even. There's one buried in the ramp there. But if you, in your mind's eye, take that space and shift it over, you have room for yet another Moai besides 3 you could put on there. So potentially that one could have 4 statues on top of it. When you get over there, and we'll go down below over here and have a look, you'll be able to see that the back wall of that is offset. The seaward wall is offset from the wall that's behind these 3. Now, why is that? They're changing their orientation. If we look at just these 3 all by themselves, they have a focal point, meaning that if you take the axis of the 3 different Ahu, the focal point is right out here in the front. So this would have been where the ceremonial platforms were. You'll find there is a pier code built by the ranch, and you will also see that there's a pump down next to the shore over here that pumps fresh water on a line all the way through and dumps it into where the middle of those horses are. So this was a watering place, and yet in the name we have no term Vi in here. Vi is water, and most of the places where you get water, they use the word Vi in there plus a name, so that every time you see Vi, you know there's a source of fresh water nearby. Well, that's in a pocket. The groundwater leaks out into the ocean there, and they just stoppered it all up. There's far more to this than meets the eye. You have pavements in front, you've got a whole series of photo. Don't attempt to rebuild this one. Now, you want the rest of the story, and for that we actually have to move a little bit, but I'm going to do it in advance. If you look over here, do you see some big boulders sitting there? Between here and the sea? There's one set, there are 2 of them. And this was probably the interior central platform support stones. And over here, separate from that, but it looks just the same. In other words, you put a big Moai on top of that once you've got the rest of the Ahu built up, and those support stones will stay there. There are 2 sets of them. One of them is the one you see here, and there's another one on the other side. So if you want to talk about central platforms, if this one is number 5, that would be number 6. Over the Pirka and across the water pipe, you have 7 and 8. And if you take the length of the line of support stones, and then, okay, we're going to put statues on them that are close together as those 3, you have quite a number of other statues you could put on here. Well, where the heck are those statues? You'll never guess. The statue roadway came right down where the modern road that you see right there. And I'll show you where it is and how it comes in. But this was taken over by the modern road, which is right behind you. And that was the old road. The new road is over there and avoids all this stuff. Sergio Rapu did not want to see the site destroyed any more than the rest of us do. Anyway, you can see where the cleared part of the original road is right there. I mapped the original road all the way from Rockland to this point and actually beyond. And the prehistoric roadway goes parallel to this water line, which hugs the edge of the cliff over here and winds up crossing this Pirka and going straight that way, right past the horses and the other modern highway that's in there. And you can find it on the other side. You can see where the other end of it is. And it was a massive amount of work. The roadway just up the valley here is 3 feet deep. That suggests erosion has taken place along the pipe. excuse me, along the pathway itself. And so the same is true over on the other side, but we'll get a chance to see that one a little bit later. Okay, so this is the one place where we have, and if you're keeping count, we have 2 central platforms that are in the building over here, a third one right there on the end, and then you have number 5 right there. So how many platforms would you like? Probably a minimum of 8. Now if we take the orientation of these boulders and assume that the central platform would be built over the top of them, they all have a focal point, but the focal point is over here in this parkway, in this parkland, because it's a much bigger oval. If you have an amphitheater, basically, you have a focal point for that amphitheater, very carefully calculated out by people who build them. And in this case, it's been disturbed. This entire area has been worked over, but the focal point's on the other side of that pier right there. And why a focal point? Well, they seem to have an idea that they were, I don't know how big this ceremonial plaza is, but, and I don't know what the use of it is for that matter, but when you line all these things up on a map, and I've done that, you can see on the map where the focal point lies, and it's just inland right over here. So they oriented them from around a certain specific area that they liked, and that apparently is this one. Now there's been a lot of alteration of this surface, not the least of which is putting in a statue over there. Don't know where that statue originated, except out of Ranaraku. It would have been brought down this roadway and then taken over here, and probably on 1 or 2 of these originally stood. And it's a middle-sized statue. It's not very big. It's about 12 feet long, and worth taking a look at it. So this is the oldest of all the Ahus that we have here. This one from Hotupatua. Now that's only legend. I don't know what reality is, okay? I just know the legend and what they did with Hotupatua's skull.